Hi, I'm Eleanor, and welcome to this week's edition of the Intuition Lab. This week, I'm going to be talking about whether or not something that happened in your life is fated, i.e., it was meant to be, or created by you, your expectations, the energy around you, and what you hope to manifest. So, when things happen, we wonder why. Was it meant to be? Did we bring it on ourselves? Is there anything we could have done differently? Or wondering, why did a situation turn out this way? I thought it would unroll like X, but instead it turned out to just be Y. I mean, the letter Y. And just wondering, what could I have done differently? So, I'd like to clear up a little bit of maybe misinformation about that. We think that so many things in our life are just fate and out of our control. But in truth, very few occurrences in our lives are purely fated to be. I would say maybe 5 to 8, 10% tops. But for most of us, I would say it's around 5 to 8% of the things that happen in our life are actually fated based on what our soul chose to experience and to create in this go around on the planet. And some examples of this can be having children. Sometimes you were meant to have a child, sometimes you were meant to be a conduit for a particular soul coming onto the planet. Um, Experiencing something, like maybe you were meant to be um, at a certain place at a certain point in time because it led to a sort of soul growth that you could only experience through having that. Or sometimes meeting a person or an energy. I don't know if I'm a huge believer in meeting your one and only. I think there are many people who are potential matches or partners, be it in a romantic or business or other sense throughout our lives. But sometimes we are meant to link up the person because we have a soul contract with their soul or the energy they bring. So we have a sort of predestined desire to have or be or do something. So I would say those are examples of fated experiences. Otherwise, the rest of it, it's all based on the choices that we make in this lifetime. And I would also add, for those of us who may have had difficult childhood or had things happen to us, sometimes decisions are made for us when we are unable to make them for ourselves. But otherwise, most of what our life looks like is based on the choices we make. Because when you make a particular choice, it either opens or closes certain avenues to you. So, sometimes you go down a path and you think, oh, this was meant to be. And maybe it was meant to be at that point in time. But if you'd chosen differently, the other option would be equally as meant to be. And it's all what we put our energy and focus into. I mean, the rest of it really is up to us and the choices we make. And, that can be a hard thing to hear, especially when your life is really seems to be spinning out of control. The good thing about this is if you have made a decision, you can make another one. I won't say you can unmake a decision because things happen and you cannot go back from them in many cases, but I would definitely say that if you don't like where you are, choose differently and keep making choices that lead you to a place where you want to go and what you want to be. I'm not saying that we will always realize all the dreams we have in our head, but it is important to have them. It is important for us to strive towards them because it all contributes to our soul's growth. And if you, like me, buy into the belief that our souls can have multiple lifetimes and multiple planes of experiences, it's all additive. Your soul might decide in this lifetime it is going to experience certain things, and you do it. And if you like change your path radically and you don't get to fulfill something that you were meant to do in this lifetime, well, you may well carry it over into the next lifetime and work on it there. So, I'm going to do something a little different today. I want to explore how to really use your intuition to tap into knowing whether or not something is fated or something you create. When you make a choice, is there a feeling of rightness about it or ready acceptance? I find that a fatedness, so let's say a calamity befalls you, and we've all had it happen, you know, you sort of know it's not like, oh, I deserved this, because in most cases that's not true. But I think knowing whether it's fated or created is sometimes how easily your ability to accept what happened. Doesn't mean it's all right, doesn't mean it's fine. It's just saying this happened and now I'm going to move forward from this. So that's often a tip that shows you that something had to happen. Sometimes it's the result of creating a situation that only something drastic can get you out of. Like, I'll give you an example from my own life. I went through a period of unemployment after I left a toxic job that literally made me sick, and I had to take a health related leave of absence from. And when I came back, I was pretty much finessed out of a job, shall we say. And I was spending a lot of time being angry, clinging to people in situations that weren't going to work for me. And I was not happy with my life. And I basically just said that out loud. And 2 days later, the house that was being rebuilt next to us caught on fire. And when it was being demolished, it fell into the apartment building I was living in at the time with my pet and a roommate. And much of my stuff was destroyed. So I was kind of forced to start over, whether I wanted to or not. Now, was that fated or created? I think I had made so many unaligned choices, including staying in that job, um, that I was gone so far down a path that the quickest way for me to break out of it was for something radical to happen. And it did. So also let that be a lesson to be very, I would say, exquisitely careful of what you tell yourself and the words you speak out loud and what you think. Because it's true that your thoughts will eventually become your reality if you spend enough time harping on a subject. So, another way to know if something is sort of fated or created in your life, how did you feel about this when you were a child? Sometimes we're just born knowing. I will also use myself as an example in this. I do not have children. And you could say, well, it was sort of conscious choice, but it wasn't exactly true because I did the thing you need to do to get children. And it never quite happened for me. And when I look back at it, sometimes I wonder what would it be like to have a child. But when I was a child, I was not particularly fond of children. My grandmother looked after children, and I would help her take care of them. And I was fine with taking care of them. But some children, when you play with dolls, especially because I'm female, I play with dolls. And some girls that I grew up with were always like, oh, these are my babies. And I'm just like, oh, these are just kids you take care of. I preferred Barbie type dolls. Oh, I apologize for any noise in the background today. It's a little noisy here. I would play with Barbie type dolls. My Barbie was a photojournalist. I would make her little hammocks off the end of beds that she would sleep in while on assignment. I don't know where that came from, but I never really had a strong pull to have a child. And when I thought about my life when I was little, I never thought I would have them. And but on the other hand, some people are just born knowing that they want a family, and that from the earliest vision they've had of themselves as children, thinking about their future, it involved being married and having a family. For me, it involved having a boyfriend and then getting married, but it did not include children in that calculus. So sometimes if you want to know, is this fated or created, if you had any sort of exposure or involvement with the subject when you were a child, how did you feel about it? I can also say that when you're a child, you're far closer to source than most of us are as we grow up, unless you maintain that intuitive connection with your higher self. Children, for the most part, just naturally have it. So, ask yourself, how does this feel to you when I was a child? How did I feel about X, Y, or Z, if appropriate? So, while most things in our life are the product of choices we've made, a few things are fated. And as I mentioned, quick summary, you might feel that there's a rightness to something, or, you know, an easy acceptance of something that befalls you, which makes it easier for you to recover from, or at least adapt to the new reality. And also, like I just mentioned, how did you feel about the subject when you were a child? I'm going to do something a little different now. I'm going to do a mini meditation. So if you can get comfortable or listen to this again when you're in a place where you can just relax. So I'm going to take a breath in and out. Ideally, get yourself into an energetic five state. And if you're not familiar with that, if you go through my episodes, I have a whole episode on how to get into your energetic five state. Ideally, you're in a quiet place where you can relax, lying in bed, your feet up, just somewhere you can sit quietly. And then I'll invite you to close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Now imagine yourself maybe in an old fashioned library, or depending on the imagery you grew up with, almost like, the pearly gates with St. Peter there, but just a neutral place where you might wait for a file or a book to be brought to you. And there is a book being brought to you by a kindly clerk. Doesn't matter what they look like, but you're just going to see this tome in their hands. And the title of it is The Book of You. And it's going to be shown to you. And it's forever being written. There are blank pages in it, regardless of your age or where you are in life. And you can talk to the clerk. They can give you answers and they will refer you to what's in the book. So, first, if something has just happened to you, you can ask the clerk, is this in my life overview? Think of it as a table of contents for your life. And the fated items in your life, the fated experiences are going to be on this summary page. And there'll be other chapters, but this is almost like a concordance of your life. And it is going to have the fated encounters. Is it there? And if it is, you can ask to be shown the page in your book that shows you what the encounter is and what its meaning is. And the clerk will turn the page for you. And what do you see on that page? And what's written there will give you a sense of peace and understanding about why what has happened, positive or negative or neutral. And it'll help give you a calm understanding of the what and the why. Do you see or hear anything? These pages can have moving images on them, almost like a movie embedded on a page that you see online. And you can hear sound. If it's not in the overview, then you can ask to be taken to the chapter of your life where this occurs. And you can ask to be pointed to the backstory. Like, what choices did I make that brought me here? And see what words appear on the page in front of you. You may also get like a mini movie or sounds or just a knowing. And you can also ask, what is coming next for me? You can ask in two ways, and you may get the answer that you're not meant to know right now, but you can ask, what is the next fated event for me? And it may be a long way off. It may be on a page that has lots of other blank pages around it. Or you can simply ask to be shown what is coming up next for me, and is it fated, or is this something I'm creating? And if it's something that you are creating, and you don't like what you see, you can ask, is this happening for my highest good? And if yes, if it's harsh, you could ask, is there a gentler way I can receive this? Or is there a way I can lessen the intensity or back out of it altogether? And the information you need about what comes next will be on those next few pages. And know that you can always come back to this sort of life path lending library or the reading room, and you can always ask to have the book of you brought out to you. But right now, you're going to thank the clerk. You're going to receive the mental notes that you need to remember. And the clerk is going to close the book and take it back. Now you can sit there for a minute and collect your thoughts. Breathe in and breathe out. You can calmly get up and close the door in that room and go back to where you are now. So I hope this mini meditation is helpful for you. I am so thankful for your watching and for your liking and subscribing. Whether you watch it on YouTube or you listen to it on Spotify or Apple, I am so thankful for you, and I hope this helps. But if you find that you are just mulling over occurrences or things or choices in your mind and you're not having any headway, I invite you to book in a clarity session with me. It's 1 hour, and we will help you, me, my guides, your higher self, you. We will all come together and we will take a look at what's causing you confusion in your life, help you unravel it, and help you select your next best step. And this is great for going in depth on one issue or taking a higher level overview of 2 to 3 issues and getting practical advice on both of them. So until next week, I am sending you so much love, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.